And you know, ballooning started about 120 years before airplanes were even thought about. So they were sitting around watching the fire one day, and they thought, man, if we could capture that upward energy, we could fly like the birds, right? And so being paper manufacturers, they built a balloon, big balloon out of paper. They thought it was the smoke that made it rise, so they made a big smoky fire, and sure enough, it went flying. Well, after that, they said, man, we got to try this with passengers. So they got a chicken, a rooster, and a sheep, and those were the first passengers in a balloon. They sent them up, and sure enough, they went flying and all survived.
Okay.
So after that, they went to the King of France. King of France at that time was King Louis XVI, and he told them that he said, if you want to try this thing out, you can use convicts from prison as test passengers.
Oh.
So they started using convicts. Well, eventually, you know, hundreds of people would come out and watch them launch, and he said, these guys are getting too famous. You got to find somebody else. So there was a man by the name of Pilatre de Rosier, and Pilatre is where we get the name pilot from.
Oh, okay.
And Pilatre was the first man to successfully fly across the English Channel. Y'all heard of Benjamin Franklin?
Yes.
So he was at that launch.
Okay.
So he actually brought a lot of attention to that launch. So the sport of ballooning began, and they started building these big, beautiful balloons, and they'd go right to the center of town and launch. And everybody in the center of town knew what was going on, but they'd get up to these rural farms, and these farmers had never seen anything flying. So imagine being a farmer in the 1700s. Big smoky thing comes crashing in your field.
Oh, no.
So they thought it was a fire-breathing dragon or an invader from another country.
They have asked forgiveness after landing?
Yeah, they would ask forgiveness, but they didn't give it. They would tear up their balloon. The farmers would bring their pitchforks out, kill them, tear up the balloons.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it was a rough way to end a flight, right? So as the story goes, there's a pilot and passenger, and they were fleeing from an angry farmer, and they came to a vineyard. And the man at the vineyard said, why don't you take a bottle of my champagne? He said, I make my own labels, and when you come into land, you can dangle it below the basket and say, hey, we're not invaders, we're from Annonay, France. Come join us for a drink.
Okay.
So early balloonists started carrying a bottle of champagne from the region of France they were from as a peace offering to the hostile landowners.
Wow.
Just like us, yeah. So here's our hostile landowners over here.
Hey.
So we carry the tradition on, and the
I think,
event.
this,
Is there
you
anybody
just-
that